Thursday, April 10th, market analysis, Stan Early. Good morning. A little after 10 o'clock California time. Wow, what a day yesterday. We have had a rock and roll last 5 days or so, obviously because of tariffs. Now, yesterday we had a bullish engulfing ER buy signal in the E-mini or the S&P, if you will, in the YM, the Dow Jones, in the Russell 2000, in the NASDAQ, NQ. On Monday, we had a bullish engulfing ER buy signal in the QQQ. The only one that hasn't provided a buy signal outright is the SPY, but we've got one on the E-mini because of the longer trading hours. So in all of the indexes, we have bullish engulfings. This only happens once or twice a year. I'm not telling you that I guarantee that it's going to be a good signal. So far, so good. It is not abnormal whatsoever. In fact, it's expected because I have a strategy called ER signals ER3, which wants the market to come down to approximately the middle of the range of the signal day, which was basically yesterday, which it has just done. And it's starting to go back up some. So we got another long position besides the ER1 overnights, as well as an extremely profitable, the best in years day for ER1 scalp. Now, I'm not going to show you the track record. If you want to contact me to talk about it or receive it, please do. Right here, you got info@ersignals.com. Now, the dip this morning, as I just said, is not unexpected whatsoever. It's gone up to a resistance level. Like I talked about before it happened yesterday, as the reversal was in progress, I got super excited because I saw it happening real time for you people who should watch yesterday's video. Now, huge reversals, settling back a little bit, extremely common, got a little lower than yesterday's middle of the range for the E-mini, the Russell, the NASDAQ, and the YM, and it started to come back up. So all of those entries have gotten into new longs, ER3 scalps and or overnight positions. This morning, about an hour or so ago, around 9:30 California time, a little less than a half an hour ago, and are doing very well so far. And let's look at the 1 minute chart. Now, what am I expecting? I'm expecting this rally to come up for the E-mini to around 55.50, like it did a little bit lower than that, 55.20, this morning and yesterday. But I'm looking for a new high this time, getting into the 56 plus price range, and maybe even up to 58.16, 58.20, something like that. But honestly, this doesn't look to me like a long-term bottom yet. What I need is for the market to come down once more, all the way back down to about 4,800, 4,900, 4,800. Either not make a new low, a double bottom maybe, or if it makes a new low, not by much, get oversold again, and then start to make new highs higher than the time frame from now until that other situation happens, the secondary dip, creating some sort of bottom development. So I am friendly at the moment, and I am expecting a rally higher than today's high at a minimum, but not by much, not lasting very long. And those comments in the general sense apply to all the indexes. Let's look at the 1 minute chart on the E-mini. So we had a little pop up here, up to a slight bit of resistance. This is the yellow line that I drew for you yesterday when I was talking about the market having a bullish engulfing, and we got up to about here, and it was about 10:15, something like 10:10 California time, that it was approaching. It backed up a little bit, and then it slammed through it, creating my bullish engulfing signal, and had tons of follow through for a great scalping ER1 scalp for yesterday. Normally I get, I'll say 5, maybe 10 symbols a day, stock symbols in this case, that meet my criteria and provide scalping opportunities with ER1 signals. And yesterday we had 353, an unbelievably huge number. The price action yesterday was extremely similar to December 26th, 2018. I remember it well. Several years ago. I don't know whether the market's going to do the same thing it did back then. I don't think so in this case, but it's always possible. After December 26, 2018, we had 2 or 3 months with the bull market very strong. It's possible. I can't come to that conclusion at the moment. I'm not super bearish. I'm just expecting a test of the lows, a proof that the support area is good, and then turn into something much more friendly very soon. Right now, I can only justify minor rallies into a little bit higher highs than today and yesterday. So now we've got the spider, different trading hours, of course. Yesterday, we closed one of the gaps, not both of them. So there's still a gap to close up at 555. Yesterday's high was about 545. And today we couldn't even get that high at 533. But the low is in the range of the middle of yesterday's price range, or a little lower. That's okay. And we're starting to come back some, I hope, I expect. So look for more strength on a very short-term basis, but I'm also expecting the bottoms to be challenged, so I'm not super positive about this. I caught yesterday just fabulous, and in general, the topping out formations and the big move down to objectives, caught all of that in the last couple of months. We got the 1 minute SPY not really showing me much. Let's go to the QQQ. Monday, we caught the bottom of the market to the exact day with a green bullish engulfing. Perfect. Tuesday, Wednesday, big up day, but not a bullish engulfing. The other indexes did have a bullish engulfing, but not yesterday for the QQQ. And up we go yesterday, closing both of the recent downside gaps. I told you gaps are like a black hole in space. They tend to suck the price action back into the gap area, and that's exactly what happened yesterday. And then back down a little today, but I don't like talking about new lows at the moment. I still think we've got some residual strength coming. Next, QQQ 1 minute chart. Next, the bullish engulfing yesterday in the NQ, the NASDAQ, up to resistance area, which I talked about. And now back down some. So now I've got to pick a bottom, and I think we may have had it already this morning. And a move back up to challenge yesterday's highs, and or today's highs are very similar, and make modest new highs. And we'll see what happens after that. I think we're going to have one more downside correction. And the NQ 1 minute chart, dropping off pretty sharply here at the moment. We had a bullish engulfing yesterday, also with a YM. Today, slightly higher, but in a resistance area. Classic. I think I pegged this yesterday. I'm not sure exactly what I said, but it looks likely. Back to previous lows, top of resistance, 411-ish, 12. And then a correction. Now, 1 minute chart on the YM. Now, the Russell index came down to a major support area, oversold conditions, bounced like crazy, did have a bullish engulfing yesterday, and here is the green daily bar. Just like E-mini, Russell, well, this is the Russell, NASDAQ, and YM. All 4 of those. Now, the Q's already had one on Monday, and the spider's just been left out of it so far. Not that it still can't happen. Now, looking for this to bounce back up. Okay, Russell, 1 minute. And interest rate futures have failed to hold the head and shoulder bottoms that I was outlining for weeks. And it was working for weeks until the bearish engulfing on April 4th, Friday. And I told you that that is probably going to cause big problems, cancel out the head and shoulder bottom formation, which it did. It dropped way below the neckline. So I've erased the neckline, erased the markings for the shoulder, what was a shoulder, a head, and a shoulder. Not anymore. All we got now is a nice bull trend line that was tested very accurately. Actually should be just down a little bit lower than where it is, like that. So it almost got to it and then bounced. So are we still bottoming out in interest rate futures overall? Well, there is a good possibility of that, but it's not going to be a head and shoulder bottom anymore like I had been expecting. And it was working again until it got failed, killed by a bearish engulfing on Monday the 7th, that not the 4th, the 7th of April, just this Monday. And it did work great coming down Tuesday, coming down a lot more Wednesday. And here we are fiddling around mostly. 10-year notes about the same thing, but it didn't drop anywhere near as much. Pattern is still canceled. Support held a little bit better on the notes, and we're hanging in there a little bit better, slightly up this morning so far. So now it's regrouping, so to speak, time for analyzing interest rate futures. What do we got for crude? Bullish engulfing yesterday. I'll be damned. We also got down to the middle of yesterday's range. So ER3, new long, kicked in around the bottom 10% of today's range, approximately. So what am I looking for now? A rally back up to the high of today and higher, above 63.50, and probably at least up to 65. Maybe even more than that, and that's not all that far away to begin with. Wouldn't be surprised, can't rule out 72. We had a bullish engulfing also in the heating oil, causing me to turn bullish. Retracement back into approximately the middle of yesterday's range is great. We're there right now. Support right now. I expect it to hold, turn around, make highs above yesterday and today, and probably get up to a minimum. I would expect 2.33. Now, I also can't rule out 2.422 and maybe even a test of the highs of the last several months, 2.48, but up and pretty good in the next few weeks. Next, we also had a bullish engulfing in the natural gas. All three had bullish engulfings yesterday. Now, the natural gas has been working great with this head and shoulder top formation. Yesterday was a new low since the head and shoulder top formed, broke out, first downside move, rallied, tested the neckline twice, came down to new lows, got oversold, and bingo, we got a bullish engulfing. Now, this does not kill the head and shoulder top formation yet, but that's possible. I don't really want to see a very good rally here. I'd much rather the pattern be dominant and the signal not turn out quite right. But if we make a little rally, then there's room for the signal to make some money, and then we can still turn down and get to my minimum objective of a little under 3.0. So I'm still looking for 3.0. But the signal yesterday says maybe a bounce first. So far, no bounce. Next, gold. All the way back up to the previous size of the move. Talked about that yesterday when it was building a bullish engulfing. It happened the next day today. Now what? Well, we're nowhere near overbought, 66. I'm looking for new high ground for gold. Easily. Not sure how high, but I'm going to claim, well, 3,300, 3,400, something like that. Looks quite plausible. Silver also had, well, gold didn't have it. It had an outside up day. But silver had an outside up day, having been oversold. It did have a bullish engulfing, and we've got a little bit higher high today, momentarily trading slightly lower on the day. Oh, actually, it looks like we're trading a little higher, 0.34. Yeah, up a little bit at the moment. So I am looking for further strength in silver, probably up. No, I can't get super accurate here. It already got up to my first one this morning, so that's already come and gone. At least up to 32.4 and maybe even 33.6, 33.6. That does look quite plausible. What about bullish engulfing in platinum? All four metals have a bullish engulfing yesterday, except for gold. I'm sorry. Gold didn't have one. 3 out of 4. So this is really unusual. So here's platinum, and there's copper. So I'm going to do that in a moment. Bullish outside up day and oversold condition turned our price action green. It's an ER buy signal. We made higher highs today than yesterday. Momentarily, we're hanging in there. We're coming back to a little bit of resistance, and frankly, it's a lot of resistance. So I'm not yet super confident that platinum's going to go up a lot, but if we can start to close above 950, let's call it above 960, then you're overcoming most of these important previous lows for a couple of years, or a year and a half or something. And then we could have more upside potential. So I'm friendly, awaiting a little bit more technical proof. And I could still see a retracement down into the middle of yesterday's range and then up. So we'll see what happens. But I'm bullish on the metals, period. Now, copper. Outside up day yesterday, oversold conditions at a support level, one of my favorite triple combinations. Wow. Now, we did have a follow-through strength yesterday after making it above Tuesday's high. Therefore, the ER1 scalp and overnight positions made money. Right now, we're getting that dip back into approximately the middle of yesterday's range, which would be okay. Maybe it'll get there, maybe it won't. The dice have been cast, so to speak, with the bullish engulfing. If it works, fantastic. I think so. I got my signals. If it doesn't work, they don't always work, and my stops are always relatively tight. I don't like taking losses. I know, learn to love your losses, but that's only if they're handleable, because you're going to have them. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Never let them get big. Next, new highs now for soybeans for a few days. How interesting. It came down to previous lows, held. So you could say we've got a double bottom here, maybe. Too early to tell for sure. I'd love to see it close above 1035, and we're already up to 27.5 at the moment. So it's not very far away. It could happen yet today, and that would be supportive evidence that the double bottom is doing very well. The breakout to the upside is going to be above, let's call it 1098 or a hair under 11. And if we do start closing at 11 and higher, the minimum upside objective, and I'm going to erase this one because that's not really relative anymore. Now you're measuring from the highest high between the two lows, and this is down to the two lows. The upside objective would be about 1030, 1230. Damn big move. Very good move because of the double bottom, if it pans out correctly. And frankly, I think it's going to be much, much more bullish on a long-term basis, not just up to 1230, but maybe 1450, all the way back to previous highs in May of 23. That was soybean oil. Coming up a little bit today, earlier. Recently challenged important highs, stopped, resistance, overbought, had a correction, got down to support, not oversold, Didn't do any damage to the longer term bottom formation, which is a single double shoulder head inside single double shoulder bottom, head and shoulder, double shoulder pattern. Nothing wrong with it. All I need now is for the market to basically move up, start to close above, let's say 50, get up to about 50.50, break the neckline, and then we'll have a minimum upside objective of 61.85 on soybean oil. Let's see how that works out over time. Now, meal. One of the meal and wheat looked the worst, but oversold meal has now come up to the resistance. Yesterday, almost, today, definitely, right about now. If it's going to stay bearish, this would be a perfect spot for it to stop moving up and turn around and challenge the lows and maybe make new lows. If this oversold condition is a profound bottom of some sort, and I can't tell, then we will not stop at 298, give or take, and we will start coming up and break above 310. That's going to cause this to look a lot like a bear trap in oversold condition on a longer term basis. Right now, I'm sorry, I just can't tell very much. So we're at a point where it could stop rallying or a little bit higher in resistance. And if it can get through that, it can turn a lot more bullish. If it can't, then we're going to go sideways again, back down again, and maybe new lows again. And what about corn? New highs for about a month. Pretty good. Got overbought today for the first time in about a month, or even, overbought. Well, more than a month. So, minor upside breakout on a little double bottom today in corn. If it stays above 476, let's call it 77 maybe, and we're at 82.5 right now, great. This creates a minimum upside expectation of 513. Great. And that means you're real close to the neckline of a very large 1 year, maybe 13 months, head and shoulder bottom. There's your shoulder, bullish engulfing ER buy signal in the exact low day. Head and shoulder bottom formed the head of the bigger pattern with a little head and shoulder bottom that already worked. And the last shoulder is a double bottom in itself, March, April. And the last low on March 28th, bullish engulfing just a week or two ago, talked about the double bottom, talked about this rally. It's come true, but now we're a little overbought. Maybe a day or two more up, a little pullback, and then up again. This could be a really good long-term situation, bullish. Next, wheat, like meal, made new lows for an extended period of time, has not yet had any major comeback, just popping back up to a little resistance. So like meal, I need more evidence. I need a close above 575 for wheat, and then I'll get a lot more excited about a long-term bullish move. Otherwise, could get locked into a sideways trading range for a while, or this thing is still a bear trend, make new lows. Okay, cattle. Bullish engulfing yesterday. We had, I think it was 9 bullish engulfings in other markets other than the stock market indexes. So that's extremely rare that we have that many in one day for widely varying commodities. Not even in the same groups, not close. So cattle, another bullish engulfing. This all says to me that a lot of different commodities are going to start to head north. Bullish. A retracement back to the middle and even lower than yesterday's range. Fine. Starting to work its way back up a little bit, but still I need closes above yesterday's high. Not lower than yesterday's low. That's my fail safe. That's the lowest, and it's probably a lot higher than that, I would use for a protective sell stop if you are long from yesterday and or today. Again, that's my lowest. I would prefer to have something a lot tighter than that, but that's my fail safe. Hogs. Well, Miss Piggy may be deciding on something. slipping off a little yesterday and then further slippage today. It's still got a trading range it's basically in and doesn't really want to know what it wants to do. So I'm not getting excited about a bear move here or a bull move or whatever. I'm going to wait. Sorry. It's been a week or two since I didn't have too much to say, and rightly so in hogs. Two stocks I'm monitoring. Boy, oh boy, this stock, like 353, gave me a buy signal yesterday. It was one of them. This, I believe, is going to stop dropping, turn around, and start to rally again. Yep. Let's see what happens. And Apple, I monitor also, did not have a bullish engulfing, but in oversold conditions, it did get into a support area, closing an old gap. Actually, that was closed on Monday's break low. The low on Tuesday was up, Wednesday rather, sorry, that's Tuesday and Wednesday. Wednesday was a little bit higher, stronger. That was the bullish engulfing day for a lot of stocks. We're getting a little retracement today, so let's see how this ends. If it ends on substantial strength today, it'll make me very happy. If we get above yesterday's high, it'll make me a lot happier. And if we close above yesterday's high, I will be very happy. Let's take a look again at the E-mini real quick. Okay, the little dip stopped and we're rallying back up slightly. And the same thing, of course, for the S&P, Qs, NASDAQ. Whoops, NASDAQ, 1 minute. Okay, good. You guys have a great day and profitable trading to you.